What is it like to work at a dyno tuning shop? Well, today we are here at Church Automotive Testing, my workplace where I've been working for the last 3.5 months, located at 300 Quay Avenue in Wilmington, California. And guys, we deal with a wide variety of awesome vehicles and customers on a day-to-day basis. So hopefully this video is going to be able to capture some raw, authentic, and hopefully some funny moments for you guys and get to see what it's like to work at a dyno tuning shop. It is dynamic, loud, and it can be very hectic.
We've got a 2004 RSX here with the K24 swap. Just getting it sorted out, making sure part throttle looks good and everything right now.
Well, Sean seems a bit busy, so we're gonna go over and talk to Rob and see what he's up to.
Today, we're on fucking somebody else's fuck up. So they put a brand new transmission or rebuilt the transmission, and unfortunately they used the wrong fluid.
What car is this?
It's a 2018 Camaro SS with an 8-speed trans. They used the non-updated fluid, which is known to cause a shutter issue or not. I don't want to say not lock up, but it's been having issues. Let's just say that. I don't want to put anybody on blast for it. This fluid is really, really dark. Like trans fluid usually holds like a pinkish red color. This thing is not at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if they underfilled it as well. So we're gonna find out today on today's episode of how fucked up is fucked up. This is gonna be fucked up.
Well, while he is doing that, we have two Subarus that are here for a dyno appointment. One of them is at 4 p.m. and the other one is gonna be, I think right now at 12. So let's go see what's up with that. So we're at our first Subaru of the day, which is a 2006 Hawkeye STI. Simple bolt-ons, ETS front mount intercooler, I think an FP Blue turbo, some version of it. And he's on 740cc injectors, so this guy wants to do, what do you want to do?
He wanted to do 2 maps, but we're not going to do 2 maps today because he rolled in with a half tank at 91.
Yeah.
So yeah, so instead of a flex fuel sensor, he wanted 2 different maps. But considering where we are gas-wise, and we're not going to go draining a tank right now, we're going to just do 91 today, and then he'll have to come back when he wants to do ethanol.
The daily Church Automotive Testing ritual, seeing if the wideband turns on.
We're on, baby. We're on.
All right, so it looks like before we even start tuning, Ryan is finding out how difficult it is to deal with Cobb access port cables. So we've made no progress on this car in the last 30 minutes, I feel like, because we are facing access port issues. I don't know, this thing was shut off in the middle of having the car running, so we're not sure. We tried different cables to the PC, and hopefully we can resolve this, because if not, this guy's not getting tuned.
If I was having issues connecting to the access port, it would be intermittent. Sometimes it dropped the connection, and sometimes it would have it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna try a different cable, thinking it was like maybe his Cobb cable that actually goes OBD2 port, but it was not. Then, you know, trying different USB cables, it's not the USB cable.
Not it.
And randomly, I'd be in the middle of starting to tune the car, and the whole access port would just shut off and go black screen. So big brain idea, let's update the firmware. Updated the firmware to start flickering, so that was cool. Managed to update the firmware even still. Got 3 passes out of it without it dropping connection, and then it started dropping connection again, and then would freeze and not do what I wanted it to do. So we're gonna stop here for now. It's safe. The car made 282 and 296 torque. It's funny because I was just telling Alberto, I was like, you know, if someone asks like what is a day in the life of like tuning cars and on the dyno and all that stuff look like, it's like a lot of the stuff that you guys don't see is this crap. Like this is it. Like this is like us battling. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the screen of death. I've seen this before. Oh baby, this is not good.
And I was telling Ryan, that's actually exactly what we were planning on filming today in this video, is bring you guys along and seeing the inner workings of you know, what it's like to work at a dyno shop. Because I think a lot of people see dyno videos and they're like, oh, it's perfectly smooth, everything runs smoothly all the time, but that's honestly not the case at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's funny because the tuning part, like, once you get into it, when the car's set up right, the parts are right, there's no hardware issues, the software works, that's honestly the easy and the fun part. The hard and annoying part is the battling when things don't work, whether it's, like, parts on a car that shouldn't be on the car or not installed correctly, or, like, hardware, software stuff like this. That's the stuff that sucks, like, and it gets frustrating because you're just, like, for me, and I know for Sean especially, like he likes and I like being just cut loose, and it's like go. Like I like, you know, we're all trying
get into it.
Yeah, get into it and start tuning the car. But it's like when you feel like you take a step forward and your like foot's in like quicksand, and then you take another step forward, you're like, oh, that looks like solid ground. Nope, that's like liquid cement, you know, and you're trudging through mud. It's not fun.
And you know what's weird? It's like tuning my STI, or when Sean forced me to sit in the car and operate that car, it's not much different than operating a simple bolt-on, let's say STI, that, you know, doesn't make north of 30 psi. Because fundamentally, it's all the same, but it's definitely a lot scarier.
Yeah, like the risk level and margin for error as like your power levels go up gets smaller and smaller. Like it's like Daniel calls it getting closer and closer to the cliff, you know? Yeah. So it's like, how close to the cliff do you want to get? And it's like, even like, let's just say you have the best tune-up, the best tuners working on it, the best tune-up possible you could ever have in that car. If you're making 40 pounds of boost on a motor versus you're making 15 pounds of boost on a motor, any failure, hardware or anything, any environmental change that could affect things, any hardware failure like an injector, or it could be minor too.
It's going to be catastrophic.
Yeah, it can go from being like, oh, that was a bad misfire, I should go get that checked out, to like, there's my rod laying on the floor, you know? So the tolerance for not even mistakes, but it's just like, even like hardware failures, or even like semi failures, is greatly diminished the second you get close to that cliff. So yeah, it's anytime you have a high power car, it like gets
scary.
It's not that scary, it's just you just have to be even more careful, because we're a different color now. That's cool. I've never seen that before. This is new. Like, I've seen a few like access port, like some access port fuckery in my day, but like this is new. This is the new one. So.
And you know, to add to what you were saying about, I guess, the margin of error being so much smaller, I was freaking out that day, and I was like, oh my god, my check engine light's flashing when I was doing like a pull at 35 pounds, and it was a misfire.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we took apart the fuel system on my car, and I was telling you, like, crap was dissolving in my fuel system.
Yeah.
And my injectors were obviously no good. So I don't know, it's about how comfortable do I feel like pushing the car. Because honestly, dude, had I just stayed in that pole,
that's the other
who knows,
thing
right?
Too. That's the other thing too. Like, as that threshold keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed, like, there has to be some savviness as well from like the owners, because like, again, like, you had an issue where you had injectors that were getting clogged, right? Which could be absolutely catastrophic if you continue. And for someone who just is like, I don't know what that was, I'm just going to go wide open throttle and see if it does it again. Like, and I've found that like over and over again, where people are like, oh, it just did something really weird. Let me go wide open throttle again and see if it does something really weird again, instead of like asking questions or, you know, looking into it further before they just send it. And again, like, on a car that's not seeing a ton of power relative to what, you know, you can really push on that platform, it probably won't result in a catastrophic failure. But on platforms where you are at the ragged edge of, you know, your limits, hardware or, you know, component wise, again, just like
detrimental.
The margin for error, just, it's like you cut it in half. Like every 5 pounds of boost you go up, you know, like you just keep, it's the halving effect. So yeah.
Well, we're going to finish this car up. We're going to pull it off, and then probably go get that WRX loaded on. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll put you guys on the tripod, and we'll do a time lapse, since I don't think they've ever seen how Dyno packs are installed. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, that could be.
We are in the white WRX now, and right now I am trying to find a similar file, since this is a brand new customer. Trying to find a car with a similar setup, because that's going to cut our time and work in half. So we are sifting through the files and opening them up in Cobb Access Tuner. It's basically a bunch of miscellaneous crap, but it is just a top mount and intake for mods that matter. So you know what? This is going to be a good starting point. All right. So the WRX is now done. What do we make before you turn that off?
Oh,
272, 304. Not bad for a pump gas car.
Shell gas.
Shell gas. Now we have Rob's car next.
It was like
We have the Gracie 7 right there, little stock floor package. It should make some jam. I'm not gonna say numbers, but
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
make some good
Who
power.
built it? Who built it?
Of course, yours truly.
The Z06 had a bit of an issue on the dyno, very, very minor issue, but we're gonna have to call it. It is already 9:20 p.m. It's been an incredibly long day, but that is the realistic factor of working at a place like this. Even though you have scheduled hours, sometimes we have to stay a bit later because cars are just on a rotating schedule around here and things get very, very busy. But that's what makes it fun. And I drive all the way from San Diego, so that tells you everything you need to know on how much I like being here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got to see some insightful day-to-day operations of the business itself. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. That tells me that you guys want to see more content like this. And let me know down below what your favorite part of this video was and what you guys want to see more of. We're going to do more builds, more discussion type videos here with everybody at Church Automotive Testing. And make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on any of the videos. And until next time, guys, we will see each other on the next one.